Have you had spinal fusion? Then you might benefit from some mobility work to ensure that the muscles and joints other than your spine are working and moving well. Welcome back to TSC Connect. I'm Physio Andrea, a Schroth-certified physiotherapist and the founder of the ScoliClinic in Vancouver, Canada. In this routine, we have a mobility workout that's specifically designed for people who have had spinal fusion more than 1 year ago. And actually anyone can benefit from this routine, but I really kept my spinal fusion people in mind when I was designing this one. Note, if you've had your fusion done within the last year, please check with your surgeon or physical therapist to confirm that these movements are okay for your stage of healing, because movement restrictions during these healing phases can really vary depending on the surgeon's recommendations and the extent of the procedure that you had. So here's the thing about spinal fusion. Your spine still moves, but only in a few degrees in either direction because of the rods that are supporting your spine. And also the actual calcification process that happens in between each vertebra that fuses them together. But this doesn't mean that your life needs to be limited. Yes, of course, there are some modifications to movements that won't be physically possible. For example, major back bends probably won't be possible anymore. But for the most part, there are people who have had spinal fusion who play soccer, golf, they lift weights, they do CrossFit, do triathlons and more. And what's important is that your non-spine joints need lots of range of motion. For example, because your spine can't twist as far, your shoulder and your neck joints need to move a little more to reach for your seatbelt or to do your hair or to lift weights overhead. Similarly, since you can't round through your spine to bend over, it's important for your hips and your hamstrings to have as much flexibility and strength as possible so you don't put excess stress through your spine unnecessarily. We have several other flexibility routines on our channel, all of which are also suitable for people who have spinal fusion or Harrington rods. And if you like our content, please join our membership to become a TSC Connect cheerleader, because you'll get exclusive monthly videos made by me just for our members. Thanks for watching. Enjoy this full body mobility routine designed specifically for people with spinal fusion. To start our workout, let's start in standing, and we're going to open our arms and just really start warming up our breath. Sometimes after you've had spinal surgery, or if you've been in a lot of pain or had periods of pain, your breathing pattern actually changes. And so we want to just bring our attention back to that. Try to focus when you breathe on expanding your rib cage out towards the side, and also thinking if you were like looking from the front to back, you're trying to also expand forward and backward. So staying nice and neutral, settling into your feet. Inhale, reaching your arms overhead. Opening your rib cage in like a circular way as you can. Exhale through your mouth. Good. Let's just do this for 15 seconds. It's a really short one. And ready, set, go. Okay, this time starting to warm up our shoulders as well, changing the positions a bit. So bring your fingers and your thumbs together like this and place them on top of your shoulders. Keep your elbows nice and high so that they're in line with your shoulders. From here, start with your elbows close. Inhale, open your elbows out to the side. Exhale, bring them close together, okay? We're also just doing this for 15 seconds. Ready, set, go. Okay, next we're transitioning to use our release ball. So you need a ball. If you don't have one of these, you can find them on our shop site. And then you also just need a blank space at the wall. So Depending on where your spinal surgery was done, sometimes it's in just like one portion of your spine or throughout your whole spine. We're still going to roll out the muscles on the sides of the spine, okay? So this is really important because sometimes a lot of those muscles get really tight, or during the healing process, there might be some scar tissue depending on what procedure you had. So take your ball, and we're gonna start in the upper half of our back. Okay, so you can take one ball and place it basically in between your shoulder blade and your spine, and start just like in the middle of your upper back. I usually walk towards the wall and then squat down and lean into the wall. Okay, the further your feet are away from the wall, the more pressure you're going to exert on your back, and so it'll be a little bit more intense. So you might have to play with it. And then from here, you're using your legs to squat and stand up, and that's where the ball is just gonna roll up and down on the side of your spine. So we're doing this for 30 seconds, and then we're gonna switch the ball to the other side of your spine for another 30 seconds. Keep your upper body relaxed, go at your own pace, and ready, set, go. Move the ball from one side over to the other side of your spine, and then find a spot on the wall and roll on that other side of your spine for 30 seconds. Ooh, mine's a little bit more tender on this side, and that's pretty normal. You might find one side that's a little bit more sensitive than the other, so just be gentle. 3, 2, 1, go. We're doing the same thing, but this time we're focusing on the lower half of our back. So again, start with the ball on one side of that spine. You'll probably find there's like a meatier portion of your muscles on that side. Go towards the wall, start in a little bit of a squat, and then again, make sure that you're staying on the side of your spine, that you're not actually rolling on top of your spine, and you're just going really gentle to try and massage those muscles in the lower half of your back. Do this for 30 seconds, then we're gonna switch sides for another 30. Ready, set, go. Okay, take the ball and move it to the other side of your spine. Stay in the lower half of your back. Go towards the wall, rolling up and down again for another 30 seconds. Ready, set, go. Okay, so you can place your release ball down. We're going back to do a little bit of breathing now that we've loosened up some of the muscles in our back and opened up our shoulders a little bit. What I like to do is place your hands on either side of your rib cage. If this is hard for you on your shoulders, you can actually cross your body and still hold either side of your rib cage. I'm gonna go this way so you can see me. So if I apply a little bit of pressure on my own rib cage, it kind of like signals to my brain, hey, there's pressure here, we don't like it, and we want to try and expand. And so that's a little trick that we use as physios at the ScoliClinic to teach our patients how to breathe really down low through their rib cage. So I'm applying a tiny bit of pressure. As I inhale, I'm thinking about trying to spread my hands apart, lifting my arms out to the side, and then exhale, allowing my hands to come close together, okay? So we're gonna do this for 15 seconds, just a short set, so you don't get too lightheaded. Take your time, inhale, rib cage nice and lifted, exhale, lower. Ready, set, go. We're going to transition down to the floor. So we've done a little bit of mobility work, but it's just as important when you are doing mobility or release work that you're really trying to activate some of the really important muscles at the same time. So we're taking a little mobility break and doing a high plank on your knees and on your hands just to activate some of that core, okay? So place your hands underneath your shoulders, walk your knees back a little bit, keep your knees bent, lower your pelvis, and make sure that your shoulders are pushing your chest away from the floor. We're just holding this for 30 seconds. Try to focus on breathing through the rib cage like we just did in standing, and see if you can transfer that skill into your high plank. Let's do this for 30 seconds. Ready, set, go. Okay, we're gonna find our release ball again. And this time we're going to work on our upper body, so especially our pectoralis muscles. Most people these days actually have quite tight chest muscles because we spend a lot more time on our phones or at our computers. But especially if you've had like a spinal surgery, sometimes depending on how your recovery went, some people do find that they have quite a bit of tightness across the front of their body, which is just as important to make sure that we address so that your body is a little bit more balanced, okay? So take your ball and you're going to place it into the the little hollow in front of your shoulder, and this is really where your pectoralis muscles are. They kind of go from your shoulder down into your chest area. So take the ball and place it there. It's going to be a little hard to see, but I'll talk as I go. And so you're finding your wall, and then you're placing pressure between the ball and the wall again. So I'm going to turn my head this way. Keep this arm relaxed, and I'm leaning gently into the wall. And all I'm doing is doing gentle squats and straightens to try and do little circles on my chest. We're doing this for 30 seconds, then we're going to switch to the other side, okay? Ready, get set, go. Switching to the other side, and 30 seconds on this side. Ready, set, go. Place the release ball down again, and we're moving into one of my favorite stretches as a physio who works with a lot of people with spinal fusion. We're moving over to the wall, and we're actually going to stretch our latissimus dorsi, or these muscles on the sides of your body. Place your hands above your head, okay? And so from here, walk your feet back, and you're going to reach your hips back and away so that you're opening your armpits and really trying to get that stretch along the side of your body, okay? What's really important here is that you don't collapse downward, again, because if you've had a spinal fusion, we want to make sure that your spine and your trunk is in as neutral of a position as possible. And this exercise is really all about opening your shoulders rather than trying to create an arch in your back like you might if you didn't have spinal fusion and if you were, say, doing yoga. So this is really more of a shoulder opener than it is more of a back bend, okay? So arms well above your head, reaching your pelvis backwards, and think about opening your armpits towards the floor. Breathe again into the sides of your rib cage for 30 seconds. Ready, set, go. Okay, let's pick up your Theraband this time. So this is a combination of gentle strengthening, but it's more like an active mobility. So holding your Theraband with a pretty wide grip, put it on tension, and then you're going to do like an overhead movement and then come back down in front of you. So what this is doing is right at the top, I can feel my shoulders stretch because I'm kind of like at the limit, but I'm also still activated using the Theraband. So my muscles are also working too, which I love doing, two things at once. And so you're lowering down, keeping the tension on the Theraband. We're doing this gentle sweeping movement for 30 seconds. You don't have to go all the way over and back around because that could be a little bit too aggressive for your shoulders at this point. So we're just starting with sweeps just as far overhead as you can and then coming back down. Ready, set, go. Keeping our Theraband for this one, moving into a wide squat. So we're doing a bit more mobility also for your hips. Lower down into a sumo squat or a wide squat where your feet are turned out to the side and your knees are following the position of your feet. Lower down as low as you can. We're bringing your arms overhead and activating your shoulders here again with the Theraband. From here, you're going to push onto one side and go into like a diagonal position. I'm still keeping my Theraband at on tension here, and then I'm lowering back down into my sumo squat. And then I'm pushing onto the other side and going into that diagonal movement. So I'm kind of it's more of like a hip mobility, but I'm still using a lot of my muscles, okay? We're going back and forth onto this diagonal for 30 seconds. Ready, set, go. Okay, we're gonna place our Theraband to the side, grab your release ball again and transition down to the floor. So another part of our body that gets really tight is our hip rotators. And so we're going to place, so if you're sitting on your bum with your knees bent up, place the ball underneath one side of your bum. Okay, so I'm still touching the ground on this side, but I'm basically trying to wedge the ball as far under as I can. Keeping my hands behind me for support. I'm keeping my fingers facing forward, so not flipping them around, because you can see what happens is my elbows kind of they hyperextend and they get locked. So I'm keeping my fingers facing forward, elbows bent. From here, I can feel there's this pressure of this ball here, and all I'm doing is lowering my knee down to one side. Woo, I can really feel that. And then coming back up. And what that does is it places a little bit more pressure onto those hip rotators. It's kind of like a massage. You can play with the position by rolling back and forth. And so see if there's a spot that you can feel where there's the most, where it's the most sensitive, and you're just slowly lowering your knee. What I love about this is because if you've had a spinal fusion, we really want to try and keep your pelvis and your trunk as neutral as possible, because you don't have a lot of rotation in your spine anymore. And so by using our pelvis and our knee, you can actually still get a lot of this rotation and this movement and massage through your hip while keeping a neutral spine. Do this for 30 seconds on one side, then we'll switch to the other side. Ready, set, go. Take the ball, switch to this side. Again, I'm going to place it underneath my pelvis. Find a comfortable and supported position with your hands, and then lowering your knee on that side, keeping, again, really neutral. One thing to remember is don't collapse down. Try and keep your chest and your shoulders as open as possible. Let's do this side for 30 seconds. Ready, set, go. Okay, we're going to take the ball and transition to place it underneath your calf. So sometimes it's like, well, my calves are so far from my back, but it can be a really neglected area, and we are upright beings, we're walking all the time, and our body is all connected. And so if there's any tension in your calves, we want to try and release those too. So take your ball. I like to place the ball like a third of the way up my calf. For me, that's where it tends to be the most tender. And then I'm just going to be like rolling the ball side to side. If you want, actually, you can also place it a little bit higher into like the meatier part of your calf. And then sometimes I'm using my hands and my other leg, and I'm actually rolling back and forth a little bit. It takes a little bit of maneuvering to figure out how to get a massage going. Like you don't necessarily need to lift your bum off of the ground, but yeah, try and find a spot where it's pretty tender, and then just roll gently back and forth. 30 seconds on this side, then we're switching to the other side for 30 seconds. Ready, set, go. Switch sides. Ready, set, go. Okay, we're placing the release ball down and we're actually moving back into kind of a standing position, but we're going to do a stretch for our inner thighs. Again, these muscles connect from your pelvis to your knees, and so if they're really tight, they can really affect how your pelvis is moving and how you walk and how you move through life. So actually you can start in a crouch position, placing your hands down on the ground. If this is too difficult for you, you can use a stool as well. But then extend one leg out towards the side, and I keep this heel lifted because it's easier for me to balance, and essentially I can already feel there's a stretch happening all the way on the inside of my thigh. For people who are flexible, you can actually place your hand inside and try and push your knee a little bit more out to the side. We're holding this for 30 seconds and then we're going to switch sides for 30 seconds. Just breathe through it. If it's too intense, you can bend your knee a little bit. Sometimes that takes off the tension. Or if you are on a stool and you don't want to go as low, this might be enough for you too, okay? Let's hold this for 30 seconds. Ready, set, go. Good. Push up into standing and we're switching to the other side, lowering down, 30 seconds on this side. Ready, set, go. For this next exercise, just find a chair, a sturdy chair or a stool. Sit on the edge of the stool and bring one heel out. So we're doing a hamstring stretch. Super important to try and keep the mobility in the hamstrings. So think about sitting really tall and then bring your belly button down towards your thigh, okay? So a few things to remember here. Don't lock your leg totally straight because that could be a little bit too much tension. Making sure that you're not rounding forward. So it's really about keeping a gentle bend in the knee. I like to bring the foot up, or you can place it down. And then just thinking about bringing your belly button forward and really hinging through your hip. We're holding this for 30 seconds and then we're switching to the other side. Ready, set, go. Sit up, bring your foot in to support you and switch to the other side, bringing your belly button down towards your thigh, holding here for another 30 seconds. Ready, set, go. This is our last stretch. So you can do this sitting on the floor, or if you find that your hips are really tight, we're gonna do a butterfly stretch. You might need to sit on top of like a stack of books or a yoga block. So I'm gonna use a yoga block here to show you. So place it down and I'm gonna sit my sit bones down on the block. From here, I'm placing the bottoms of my feet together and just allowing my knees to fall out to the side, okay? So a few important things, and the reason why I like to prop some of my patients up onto a yoga block is that if the hips are tight, sometimes it causes the person to kind of dump backwards and then get this rounding of the spine. And so especially with spinal fusion, we're trying to avoid that and support your fusion in your spine and trying to keep as neutral of a spine as possible. So keeping your feet together, allowing your knees out to the side. We're just breathing here again, opening that rib cage for 30 seconds. Ready, set, go. We hope you find this information helpful. For more how-to videos and scoliosis-friendly workouts, check us out on TSC Connect. See you next time.